Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about CTOs. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, do you think it's a must for a CTO to know both front-end and back-end development, and can a front-end developer become a CTO? Well, so the thing about being a CTO is that it's just a title, and it could mean everything and it could mean nothing. I've worked with CTOs who knew absolutely nothing about front end, and I've worked with CTOs who were full stack developers who sort of know some stuff, and I've worked with CTOs that are, they basically knew how to put on the printer, but not much more about IT. So it's really it's sort of like the title senior guys, where you use the same title for anybody who wants to use it. And what we mean when we say CTO or senior very much depends on what our expectations are on the person that we're talking to. And so a front-end developer can definitely become a CTO, because you don't actually have to know a single thing about coding or even be able to program to be a CTO, because it's a purely, depending now on the size of the company, if you talk about like a really big corporation, it's a purely non-technical role. You spend all day, every day in meetings. You have nothing to do with the coding whatsoever. Or you can be a CTO in a very small startup, and then you probably do most of the coding, or like a lot of it. And I've worked with both. And so what I like to say is that in order for you to be an effective CTO, depending on the size of the company, I like to say that I apply the same principle that I apply to being a very good senior software developer. And being a really good senior software developer means to basically understand all of IT. That is what it comes down to. And this is why I am very openly stating that I think that this trend that the IT industry is trying to kind of do, and I honestly think that this is it's silly to the point where it's almost getting ridiculous, where we are trying to bridge the fact that in order for us to do like genius level work, we need people who are at a genius level understanding of many different areas. And we're trying to fix that by creating roles: front-end developer, back-end developer, SRE, site reliability engineer, pen tester, QA engineer, UX engineer. Like, we're trying so hard, and I mean that's not even all of them. There are even more niche ones, like performance engineer, and there's more. I promise you, there's coming more. And we're trying to create specialists for each individual little thing that we want to do, and that is not scalable. Not even Google is going to be able to do this, I can promise you that. Because the problem is that if you are using that approach, then you're basically going to need 50 people in a room to deploy a single WordPress application. And that's not going to work. What is going to work is that we accept and acknowledge the fact that wide people, in terms of knowledge, are a better fit for today's ecosystem in software development. That is the thing. If you, and incidentally, you might not have thought about that much, but startups, as an example, they can't afford to have a room of 50 people who know one thing about each part that makes up an entire ecosystem of systems, because it is an ecosystem at this point. If you're going to do modern day software development, the range of things that you will have to know is enormous. And the reality is that the only people who can sustain a small-scale startup well are a group of people who have a fairly good understanding, or at the very least a decent understanding, of all those things. And that is what a CTO at the end of the day should, in my opinion, be. That is the most beneficial thing a CTO can be: a true senior software developer who knows the entire ecosystem, who knows everything from how front-end works, back-end, how ops works, telemetrics like logging systems, deployment systems, hosting solutions, etc., etc. Because at the end of the day, the all the factors that make up a successful IT company. There's so many layers to it. Everything from deployment to testing and quality assurance, like all of these roles that you have fill a purpose within an organization. And sure, when you are the size of like a super big corporation, it's very difficult for one individual to know all the domain knowledge of all the different parts of the system. But the tech, that you can teach a single person. It's just that it takes a long time to do, and it also requires one thing that we don't really talk so much about, I think, or that we talk about it, but it's very rare that I find that people understand what that actually looks like. Guys, I've said that software development and IT is a talent business, and the reason why I say that is not because I think that it's like one or two people that are really, really good at, say, back-end development, or it's like, it's front-end developers who are extremely good, etc., etc. They are absolutely out there and so forth. But the main reason why this industry is a talent industry is because the people who are the best of the best at this are not people who are doing it for the money, usually. They are people who really enjoy working with information technology. They love what they do, and you don't have to buy courses for these people to go and learn more tools. They will learn them because they find it interesting. It's very similar to, as I like to say, like having artists or athletes or something like that. They are genuinely interested. These people are the people who make the difference. These are the people that all the companies want in their organization. It's simply that we don't have enough of those people to go around. Because the average person who works is not doing it because they enjoy it. They do it because you pay them to do it. And unfortunately for us, programming is always going to be a subpar game if that's the only sort of people that you have available to you. Because the people that are only doing it for the money have no incentive usually to do a really good job or to further their own knowledge, etc., etc. And unfortunately, I know that this is inconvenient because I know because historically, guys, this is how you ran industry. You ran industry by giving menial, simple tasks to people and then paying them to do it, and any idiot could do it basically, and you didn't have to actually find people who were extraordinary in order to do it well. But this is such an industry. It used to be that the factory owner and like the floor person or his sales, etc., and marketing, these were the people that were extraordinary in like 50 years ago, or say 100 or something like that, when the actual doing of the work, the actual engineering part in comparison, or all of that stuff was sort of simple. But it's changed now. Today, the people who have the highest quality standards in the world on them are the actual software developers. These are the people that you need to have in order to go to a scale of Google. This the product owners and like all of these supporting roles and business people, they have no chance in hell to help an IT company to scale to that size. It is the software developers who are going to make that happen for you. That means that you need to have them at the highest quality levels, and that is not something that you just pay for. It's very difficult. And so for me, that is the biggest benefit any CTO can have. You don't have to have like a senior software developer to be a CTO, but it's extraordinarily beneficial if you have a CTO who has a very holistic understanding of all of the parts of IT. And if that person doesn't have that knowledge, you can do the thing that it's very popular to say this today. Oh, we hire smart people so that they can tell us what to do. And I've always found that to be hilarious, because if you are hiring someone who's smarter than you to do something for you, that is a very good thing, because that means that you realize that it's a collective. You have to together solve the problem. The thing that is worrisome is that whenever someone who's smart says that and actually understands what it means, someone who is less informed, which is the vast majority of people, will do that, hire people that sound smart, but they don't actually know if they're smart or not. And then the thing falls to shit anyway, because the person who read that quote is too stupid to identify what a smart person looks like. See, that's the problem. If you're an idiot, you're going to hire someone who uses fancy words, but actually just drains your entire budget and fucks off and goes to the next place and bankrupts you. You, as the person doing the hiring or the CTO or whoever, if you're going to find software developers or you're going to help your organization, you have to know some shit too, so that you can see that these people are good. If you don't know what a good person looks like, then you're basically just waiting to get tricked into doing whatever for someone who is just another person with a lot of with the soft skills to trick you into paying them a lot of money. So what I want you to take away from this is that it's not a must-have for a CTO to even have technical skills. It's not necessary, because at the end of the day, a CTO, depending on the role within like the size of the company, is usually the most determining factor. They don't do any coding whatsoever. So a front-end developer can definitely become a CTO, because it's not a requirement whatsoever. The thing that I truly believe is the most necessary thing for a CTO is to have a senior level understanding of IT, just as all good leaders within IT needs to have a senior levels understanding. If you hire people who are supposed to lead your technical, like the engineering department, and they are not basically full stack developers with a good strong understanding of everything from security to operations, hosting, etc., then you are you are probably going to have problems, because the best of the best of the best software developers in the world, they know this stuff usually, and they know it not because they are looking to get extremely well paid. They don't know it just so that they can put it on the CV to get paid even more. They know it because they love what they do. And these are the people that make Google, Facebook, like all these gigantic corporations. They are the people who make a success out of all their systems. You think that they outsourced creating things like React and Kubernetes to like a cheap little workshop somewhere where like they're being paid a slave wage? No. It was built by truly passionate people. Have a great day.